Today I'm going to show you some hidden damage on this thing. As you've gone on this journey with me as we've been rebuilding this wrecked car, this isn't the first wrecked car that I've rebuilt, but it's the first one I've really gone this deep into. And it's got some very interesting damage, and I haven't showed a lot of it on the YouTube channel. So today I'm going to go over it and show you what's really going on with it and why it hasn't been tagged. You know, there's some paperwork problems, but we're taking care of that. That's really not going to be a problem. But the other problems are a little bit more severe. This car is teetering on the line of being a parts car, and there's still enough of it here, and it's odd. It drives perfectly straight for the most part. It needs an alignment for sure. I've got a bent tie rod, I believe, but aside from that, it blows ice cold. The heater works, everything works. The interior is flawless. The engine is perfect. It's only got 92,000 miles on it. So why would it be considered totaled? You know, the damage didn't seem that severe. Well, it was a little worse than y'all thought. And we're going to go over that real quick. And I'm going to show you some of the pitfalls and some of the things you need to look for when you go to buy a total vehicle to rebuild, because things aren't always what they seem. First things, we're going to get to the obvious. This right here. This was a yellow post in a parking lot. Like I said, a teenager drove it. It happened early on. Got a little into the quarter panel here. The door's not bad. I'm probably going to replace this door, but I'm going to keep the driver's door. But so, I mean, that's the obvious. And you saw what it looked like from the other videos of how beat up it was in the front. But we're going to go look at some more of that. As most of you know, this car went headlong into a ditch, so we had to replace the front end, replace the fender, the bumper, and the header panel, the grill, headlight assemblies, the whole deal, from basically here around. But there was a lot of hidden damage underneath. We're going to start off with the radiator support. Now, while the frame itself doesn't appear to be bent, if you look, there's some crumple zones here. It bent right here, bent up. Then when you go over here, it bent down. So that means this is popped up, this is pushed down, and that has created quite a few problems. Because of the way the accident happened, it tweaked it. It actually pushed the front end over just a little bit. Now when I put this fender on, it straightened out this side, but it didn't straighten out that side because of the bent radiator support. So that's going to have to get changed. Will we have to change out the fender? Not sure yet, but probably. So we're going to get the new radiator support, and if the fender's cheap enough, we'll just go ahead and get that, because you might as well if you're going to be that far into it. And then after that, we should be able to align the hood properly. As it sits now, I can't align the hood it's just not aligning. Half of it's straight and half of it's bent, so we're gonna have to straighten that up. As we all know, bumper covers hide a lot of sin. So let's climb underneath and I'll show you what's going on under there. As you see, the fender's bent up right there. So that's gonna have to get straightened out. That's how it's supposed to look over there, but that's bent, so I can tell you right now, this fender is out of alignment. When the car hit the ground, it did a bit of damage underneath this bumper cover also. It doesn't look like much, but the exhaust is bent, and there's a few other surprises underneath, and I'll show these to you. At first glance, it just looks like this bumper cover is just a little wore out, but not really. When the car came down into the ditch, not only did it rip this exhaust pipe off, it actually crushed this upwards. This is supposed to be connected right here. There's a 2-inch gap. So And then when they pulled it out, apparently they hooked it in the exact wrong spot. But the other side is decent. It had a little bit of damage, but not bad. So that's just one of those things you need to watch out for. But yeah, that's damage. But luckily the axle's still in good shape. The tires have been, well, yeah, I've abused the tires. That's my bad. But this is, you know, the damage here, and it's not attaching here, so you know, that's a problem. Now if you look at the gaps down this side, it's absolutely perfect, but the other side's a different story. A clear indication this car kind of got almost tacoed is this gap right here. See how close it is right here? And as you follow it down, it gets big down here. That's from the fender moving upwards and over. The way that gap is, that tells a story. So, something you need to watch out for. So, we're gonna... The fender, other than the front lip, the fender doesn't appear to be bent. It just appears to be out of adjustment. So, I hate to get rid of it, but if I, like I said, if I get a good deal on a brand new one or a newer one, I'll just go ahead and do that. That'll just save me the aggravation. But new Radiator Sport, definitely. Now the gaps in the doors on this side are kind of a different story. Now that while they don't appear to be out of alignment or bent, it's kind of hard to tell because of this accident damage here. So we're just going to have to leave that alone for a while and then just go on to the next thing. If you decide to go and replace the doors, you'll have a much better and clearer idea of what needs to happen. But being different doors off a different car, you will have to align them. So just because they don't go into alignment the first time doesn't mean the alignment on the body is bad. That's coming next. Remember that damage underneath? This right here, it is a crease. This body has actually been, since it landed in the ditch, has actually been pushed up. It didn't land on the frame, it landed on the body. So consequently, the trunk is out of alignment here, and there's just no way I can do that because it's pushed up. This is still where it's supposed to be, but the whole body's kind of tweaked a little bit like that. So that's going to lead to other problems. Now, the body being bent doesn't mean the frame is bent. It means the body's bent. So the body can be a little bit tweaked and the car can still go down the road perfectly straight. So let me show you what the damage happened on the inside because of the body tweak. You wouldn't think anything would have happened in here, but the body flex was so great, it did something kind of interesting. One of the reasons you haven't seen me mount the console in yet is because of this. When the body flexed, it actually popped that bolt head off. And it actually popped the one on the other side too. If we go over here and look, right there, it popped that one out too. Now while it bent up the back, I know the interior kind of flexed back to where it was supposed to because there's no glass broken or cracked. The doors all align, and when I put the seats in, out of another car mind you, they plopped perfectly over the bolt holes. There's no bent, there's no nothing. So that right there tells me that the body's not tweaked that badly, it's just bent in the back and pushed up a little bit where that crease is. So that's not a bad sign. Went ahead and shut the hood, and I didn't mean to, so it's really hard to get open. See that gap? See that gap? It's actually pinched along this line, and I'm having a heck of a time getting it aligned. So as you see, the alignment on the hood isn't any good either, and that leads to a bunch of other problems. So that being said, let's go inside where it's cool, give a synopsis, and we'll round this thing out. As I sit here in my back room, and where I like to tinker with things like this antique sewing machine, I have a few final thoughts. You know, if you're going to buy a car that's been wrecked, it's a lot of work. Yeah, I could have got the car tagged and had it running just bale wired it together, had it running, it wouldn't have done right. It's still not right. And I know there's a lot of damage you've probably seen in the other videos and whatnot. I thought I'd just be honest and share what's happening so far with the car. It's just, there's a lot of work to be done and why it isn't on the road yet. But all that aside, that's kind of the pitfalls, you know, of buying a wrecked vehicle. You just don't know. So with that, hopefully here soon the car will be on the road. It's perfectly fine to drive now. It runs, it drives, it's not that I've had it on the road at all, but it runs great, drives great, cruises, goes down the road. When we get it tagged and insured, we're gonna put tires on it, take it down, get it aligned, put tires on it, and it's probably gonna be my daily for a while. I really do like the car, and I'm having a lot of fun tinkering with it, hooking up to all the police stuff and making the lights wig wag and do that, you know, that kind of stuff. But that's not the end game of this car. I really didn't buy this car for content, even though it's turned into that. I drove this car. I drove this car. I bought this car to drive. I really like the car. So I hope you appreciate the car too. I hope you like the videos. There's not a whole lot to this one. I just thought I'd show hidden damages and stuff and what's left to fix on it. A lot of this damage is not going to get fixed. It's just not worth it. If this was a $35,000 or $40,000 car, yeah. Right now, this is a $1,000 car. I fixed up enough of it on it to where it went from a $400 car to a $1,000 car. But the price and value of these is not going to go up for a long time. These cars are really popular. Everybody's using them for everything. And as the supply gets more limited, the demand will eventually start going up. But I'm going to be an old man by then. So, I hope you liked the video. If there's anything you want to see, let me know. Next video, I'm hoping to have the rear done. Make the rear lights wig wag and flash and all that. And I actually have the console support, so like you saw the seat brackets, I've got to drill out those old bolts, put new bolts in so I can mount the new console base in, and then I can actually start really mounting all the pieces in for real. So, and then it'll be permanent, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And hopefully I'll have a real speaker by then. So, that'll be fun too. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next video.